Okay, let me get this set up here. Okay, everybody. This is going to be a little rough, I guess. But it's my first time of trying these streams and live streams, okay? I have familiar ALS C9 and ALS2 gene they know nothing about, but is something to do with ALS. So my grandfather had it, my father had it, and I got the gene passed down to me. And I had started to experience a lot of weird things, breathing problems at night. I had all kinds of stuff going on and was driving all my doctors crazy because they couldn't find what was wrong with me. I finally had a doctor, physician assistant. I loved her. And she referred me to a sleep study. Well, I found out I was quit breathing about 65 times, 65 or 8 times a night. Every hour, I had 68 hour. I was shocked over that, and I thought I've never snored. I don't understand the sleep study thing, but wow, I'll get on a CPAP. They put me on a CPAP, and I got much worse. I even started having weird things in my brain. The doctor, my pulmonary guy, told me that, and I also have chronic asthma, I might add. My physician for the breathing stuff, he told me he couldn't figure out what was going on. He said it made no sense what was going on with my lungs and breathing. But during this time, I was doing some walking. I would have horrible cramps in my feet and legs. I had been falling down. I had a boot for each foot and leg. So I knew it was in the family, so I got a hold of the ALS people and I went down to Phoenix and seen a doctor, and he didn't think I had it yet. He didn't know. He only did a little quick study thing. He didn't really do a whole lot, but he said, I'll get you a grant. Let's test you for the gene study. And so he called me, and at that time, I couldn't get back down to Phoenix because I wasn't driving then. And he said that he'd do a phone thing. And he said, yes, that, I did have the gene. And I asked for copies. And then I noticed there was two genes. So that's very unique for people with ALS, I guess, is to have this ALS2 they know nothing about and the C9, but my C9 is predominant, okay? The C9 can affect your brain for dementia. The C9 ALS can also cause, your, the regular ALS main problem. So you might say that mine started out with the breathing problem, the weak diaphragm. I was having some issues all over. They ended up putting me on a BiPAP because I had told them that they did find out they had that. It's in the family, and there's a good possibility that I'm in early stages of ALS. And the guy he said that makes a lot of sense on what was happening to me. So he ended up putting me on a BiPAP. I have been on that BiPAP now for over 6.5 years, and I use it at night, every night. They used to have me do it 5 hours. Now they want me 8 hours. And I don't need to be on anything during the day. It's amazing. And I do put a fan. You can kind of see it in the picture over here. It's a little ways from me, but when I turn it on, it's like having a window open, and it just gives this nice breeze that makes it easier for me to breathe and saves my diaphragm even more. So anybody that would be diagnosed with ALS, I would encourage my doctors to get me on a BiPAP immediately because I feel this is why I'm still alive. Because most ALS people, they either die from malnutrition or they starve to death. The main thing is the lungs give in. And I am still going out. I do things. I have to kind of plan my day. I don't overdo myself. About this time too, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. It was a breast cancer that went clear through and put a tumor, had a tumor in her, in down in, clear through her body. And she passed away, but I had went and got her some little gummies. My sister said, go get her some because she was in so much pain and I was taking care of her. This was all right before I got my found out I had the gene and pretty much knew that I had ALS. And anyway, so when she had passed, I was had a little anxiety over it all, and I took a couple of her gummies, and they felt, it made me feel better, took away the anxiety. And my doctor down in Phoenix, he said, if you get any worse, he said, I would like you to go to a neurologist or come back down here. So I went to a local neurologist and he did all the tests. And when we did the EMT test, upper and lower, I had nerve and muscle loss. And he wrote down and diagnosed definitely that I was an ALS. Um, it's interesting when they did my CAT scan. See, I had started the minute I found out I had the gene, and I pretty much from the symptoms I had, I had went and got me some hemp gummies and some THC gummies, and I started out with 1/4 of a gummy with one hemp gummy. And I found out from my research, and I did a lot of research because it was in my family and I knew I had a 50% chance of getting this ALS. So I found Kathy Jordan in Florida, and you can find her on YouTube. And Kathy Jordan, she's still alive after 30 some years with ALS. She is in a wheelchair. She talks slow, but her progression was much further along than mine was when she started the marijuana. So anyway, she had said it helped with her swallowing. She said she never got any worse. Um, and like I said, she's still alive, and she was one of the only people I found that was not on invasive breathing that was still alive 30 some years after getting ALS. So my thought was, okay, since I already know the symptoms, know I have it, I went on this stuff early and I thought, I wonder if I can keep out of being in a wheelchair and my talking. Well, it was funny because they sent me to back up a little bit, when they did my CAT scan for some of my tests when they were going to final diagnose me, the CAT scan guy come out and he says, I've never seen anything like this. He says, up in the frontal part of your brain, and that's where your dementia and stuff happens. He says something was starting there and something stopped it. And there has been no more damage happening. And he says, I have to say, I've never seen anything like this. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird, and he says, whatever you're taking, keep doing it. Okay. So, that was my first like, wow. So I started taking these gummies. I found a lady, I did research. I found a lady out in California, a doctor, and she actually prescribes this to people because it's legally legal in Arizona, where I live, and California, and Colorado, Nevada, this whole area down here, it's all legal. even though federally it isn't, I guess. I don't know, but you know, it's this or we die. I don't know what else to say if you use it medically. But anyway, so I found out on the gummies, if you take a gummy, it stays in your system 4 to 6 hours. I don't drive anymore because I just feel I don't feel comfortable doing it. I made that decision on my own. And then being on the gummies and the THC, I thought in ALS, that's not a good mixture for driving. So I've been very blessed. I have a boyfriend that takes me places I need to go. I have a wonderful neighbor, him and his wife. They help me and they'll take me to doctor's appointments and stuff. I pretty much live and take care of myself. And I have to say, I don't know very many people that have had ALS entering their 8th year that are still taking care of themselves and still completely mobile. I mean, my fingers move. I wear these silly little IMAX gloves, okay? They're IMAX RSI smart gloves. ALS starts causing trouble in this area and in your palm. That's where you'll start losing your feeling, your muscles and stuff. Okay, they wanted me to wear these at the beginning. I thought, oh, that's kind of silly, but you know what? I started wearing them. I even sleep in them. And what I notice is they give me a little more strength and I'm still able to move my fingers. I wear compression socks. I even sleep in those. That really cuts down on the spasms and all the stuff that goes on in the cramping. I will once in a while, if I overdo, get a little more cramping and stuff. I can still feel that. Um, but these simple things work. And I'm on that BiPAP every night. Um, that has saved my breathing. I have to say I have changed everything in my life. What I figured out early on with all my studies all over the world I've been studying, what I found out is ALS does like light pressure, not too much. I even go get massages. I think that has helped me. But it really bothered me. You know, people say, "Are you sure you have ALS? Are you sure you have ALS?" Well, I get this till I get the drainage that we get. People that knew me before say I talk different, but you know what? I can still talk. Um, and like I said, I don't walk real far places. What I do, I have this little park model trailer with an Arizona room. I take care of it myself. I can get around here. I can keep up with this and do most things. If there's something heavy, my boyfriend will help me with that. The thing is, we're different than other people. If we overdo or exercise, we are going to lose muscle and nerves, okay? Because we're overtaxing these damaged muscles and nerves from the ALS. Um, it was driving me crazy why this THC and the hemp was doing so well with me, okay? I will have to say over the years, I've been on this for over 6.5 years, 7 years. Um, I started out with 1/4 of a gummy. Then I worked up to 1/3 of a gummy. I now take 1/2 of a gummy and I always take the hemp with it. And the secret is you have to take both those together. You can't take one or the other, and I don't think it'll have the same effect. You have to kind of mess with that and find your dosage for your body, and your body will let you know. It's when you don't have any pain, you feel a little more normal. You notice that I mean, it's not going to fix things that where the nerves have already died and muscles, but they'll keep you and slow down your progression so that it doesn't. Now, what I found out that is quite interesting is I've been doing so well. I was actually bedridden for 2 years. What happened is when the first COVID come out, I had just gotten my diagnosis. I got that first COVID. Um, they took me by ambulance. They wanted to put me on invasive breathing. I said, I refused it. I said, I won't even do that with my ALS. I don't want invasive breathing. I don't want feeding tubes. And they said, well, you're going to go home and die then. And I said, well, I'd rather die at home. So I went home. They couldn't even get IVs in me. My veins, everything had collapsed on me. Um, between God and prayers and my THC and my hemp and then my BiPAP, I think that saved me because they said there's no way I would live, and I did because my stuff had all my veins and everything had collapsed. It took me 2 years. The fatigue from the COVID, the fatigue from the ALS. I had hospice out 2 times, and hospice they told me, "I think you're gonna probably live longer than you think," because they'd never seen anybody that was so in tune to taking care of their body and doing so many things to stay alive as long as I could. And I guess that's true. I mean, I listen to my body. I have even been able to train my body. I can't really feel when I need to go to the bathroom, but if I drink a glass of water, I go in and sit on the toilet, I pee, okay? I've got my body trained for that. My body wakes me up every night, every 4 hours. It wants my meds. I am taking my meds now every 4 hours. Was taking them every 6 hours. Instead of upping the amount, I still do the half, but I'm taking it sooner. I'm getting more in my system. And the reason I'm doing that is after 2 years and I started doing a lot better. Um, and that's a weird story too, because I, here I'm just, trying to get out of bed and function. And towards the end of my 2 years, and I got a polyp in my nose, and I've never had one in my nose. I thought, oh lordy, how I don't want to go. I can't already get to the bathroom, let it go to the doctor. And I got to thinking, I had put some CBD cream on a couple little growth things I had, and it actually made them go away. And I thought, why not? I'd prayed about it. I felt like I was supposed to stick my finger in and stick this CBD cream in my nose, and I did. Do you know after 1 week, the polyp was gone, has never came back in my nose. And the other amazing thing was my fatigue got better and I got better. Okay. So I have been doing better now for about 2 years. I think I've been doing, since I got over the COVID stuff and everything. And I wondered how much better I'd even be doing if I wouldn't have got the COVID. But I'm very happy because I'm enjoying life and I'm doing wonderful. And the thing that happened is because my mom had died of breast cancer, and I've had one pre-cancerous tumor taken out of a left breast, and so I thought I better go in, and I hadn't had blood work. I better do my blood work. I better do all this stuff, and um, I I went and I did, I went ahead and did all that. And everything was coming back great. Even my blood work, they said it was unbelievable how my body was fighting infections and stuff, okay? Which kind of triggered me like, wow, what's going on here? And then I had the mammogram and they found something and it ended up being a tumor. Well, when they did the biopsy, they found out that I had like three the fat like rated three, which is the fastest cancers you can have. Um, I started praying and I thought, gosh, I haven't seen a doctor in 5 years after I'd gotten the COVID and I just hadn't been to see a doctor. And so I thought, holy crap, so that's when I upped my meds to every 4 hours. So now I'm dealing with ALS. Now I'm dealing with fast cancers. I thought my body needs a little oomph. Okay, here's the amazing thing that on my biopsy report, um, it said there was those three cancers, but I was HR negative. And what's that mean? So there was three fast moving cancers, but the proteins were not feeding the cancer. Okay. So that kind of interests me. It's like, okay, why are my proteins, what's doing that? And then I got to thinking, I'm going to type in ALS and proteins. So I did that. And what I found out is they are finding out proteins are attacking the nerve and the muscle endings of people with ALS. That's what's causing some of their ALS. Okay. So I, it's like, wow, if it's not feeding the cancer cells, you know, and now this is before I'd went in for my lumpectomy and everything. So this is an amazing story. And I'm hoping some student or somebody gets this and will research some of this stuff so it's just not lost because it's amazing, okay? So I believe why I'm doing so well is the THC and the hemp I'm taking is stopping the proteins from attacking in my nerves and my muscles now, my nerve and or whatever my in my brain or wherever these proteins attack for the ALS, it's keeping it from happening. Okay. So I haven't, I mean, I'm not perfect because the damage that's been there is already done, but I'm not getting any worse. That's why 8 years I'm like a normal 71 person. I'm 71, believe it or not. And I'm doing quite well. I mean, I've always been fairly healthy, but there's something with this THC and hemp fighting these proteins, even for the cancer and for the ALS. Now, I started praying and I pretty much turned this cancer stuff over to God because I thought, how sad would it be for me to die of cancer? And I'm doing so well with my ALS now. And God basically told me, don't worry about it. This is another bump in the road for you because I almost died of COVID. I was supposed to die of ALS, within 5 years. And now here's another hurdle. Okay, three fast cancers. It's like, but they'd rated it as fast cancers, but they hadn't staged the cancers yet. So they sent me to a specialist, and I went there and to the surgeon, and he was going to take out the lump and he was going to take out some lymph nodes to see if it spread to the lymph nodes. And he would take some tissue, and then we would find out the stage of the cancer. Things weren't looking real well. I mean, he was quite serious on how I'd have to have probably chemo and radiation, everything afterwards. And I thought, oh, wow, with ALS, I really don't want chemo. But first day I went for my surgery. This is so bizarre. I went to the surgery and they didn't have enough dye to put in to show the surgeon where to put the dye in. And he was so upset. He said, I've never heard of such a thing. And I just told him, I said, well, there's a reason why God doesn't want us to do this today, and he'll have us do it another day. And so we he booked it for the next week. And I have to say, I had the most wonderful people. I never had any pain through any of the surgery, even when they were putting radiation dye into my breast. All this stuff that should have been pain. And the doctor says, well, I'll give you some pain pills. I said, I don't need pain pills because of the meds I take. Okay. My THC and my hemp, I don't have pain. And he did the surgery. Um, and this is amazing. He come in almost dancing, just like my pulmonary guy did after he did all my pulmonary stuff, because he says it doesn't make medical sense how well your lungs are doing with asthma and a weak diaphragm. And he says, whatever you're doing, keep doing. That's all my doctors ever tell me. And so he come in and he says, I don't believe this, but he says, you had no cancer in your lymph nodes. And I'm like, thank you, Lord. I mean, another prayer answered. And I had even went and bought some CBD cream that had THC and CBD, and I was rubbing it on these breasts every day so that I could kill from the outside, and I'm taking it from the inside. Okay. So I was really going after this fast cancer. I figure you have a wild bull, you can put a fence around it. And we did. And I just went to my appointment the other day and he smiled. He says, I don't know what you're doing, but he says, you keep doing it because he says, it's unbelievable. He said, we got all the cancer other than what's in the ducts, but all the invasive cancer was just a tumor and a little bit around there. And he said, we got all that cancer out. And so he's sending me to the cancer doctor tomorrow. It's going to be interesting what she says. I thought he even said he took a few ducts out and there was no cancer in it. So I don't know what to think. This has just been amazing, and it reaffirmed me over this protein thing. So I don't know if this helps anybody. Also for the ALS people, if they watch this, what I do, my boyfriend takes me over to a casino and I walk around there because I don't walk real far by myself. I have a little golf cart here. I drive that to get my mail. I can get out and go get in my mailbox and get back in or go to any little things here in the park. And in the casino, if I need to sit down because I feel winded or because my legs don't feel as good as they should right then, I can sit anywhere at any machine. I can get in 2 and 3 hours of walking around that casino. They have stairs that I go up and down very slowly to get exercise because they have shows up there that I like to go see. And I couldn't figure out why my breathe, I was doing a research thing for ALS and she says, what are you doing? She says, your breathing is a little better. You know, she couldn't get over how good my breathing was getting better. And I laughed and I said, because I go to the casino. And then I said, that really bothered me why I was doing so much better in the casino. Then I studied casinos and I found out they pump oxygen in there. So that's why even with the smoke, you can breathe a little better in there, I guess. And I think that's also to keep us awake to gamble because I go gamble once in a while just for fun. But anyway, this is my first live stream. I may do another one. I haven't figured out how to video things, but I've had more people say, Bobby, you need to get a live stream. You need to come on here. I'm going to go by the gambling granny or praying gammy granny. And I might even put if I can ever figure out how to use my phone and video, I might even put a few fun videos on here. But anyway, I will come back and do another live thing after I see the cancer doctor. Um, I just I just feel that this information on how well I'm doing and how even my doctors are amazed that I needed to put this out there. So there's somebody that's going to find this, somebody this is going to help. I would be happy to do another live stream if people would like this and answer any questions. I look up different things. I look stuff up all over the world. That's how I found out about the protein study. It was over in Sweden or somewhere. And I thought, wow. And see, they're trying to find something that will stop the protein from attacking it. And obviously, the THC in hemp does because look at me. That's probably why I'm doing so well. I think that explains. And then when it stopped the fast moving cancer, kept it from spreading, you can't argue that it isn't doing something. Well, thank you, and God bless everybody, and hope to see you again. And I hope this helps somebody.